Good afternoon and welcome to episode 6 of So What's Been Happening. An exciting Sunday, 2 p.m. on a Sunday. What would we normally be doing now outside of lockup? I know pretty sure I'd be at a gig somewhere or a beer garden in Melbourne, enjoying the sunshine, probably listening to a band, no doubt. Plenty of acoustic great bands in Melbourne, and I can't wait to do that again shortly with this man, Mr. Mark Bourke. How are we, Berkey?
Very well, lads, very well. Hello, viewers. Welcome to this auspicious occasion, this one. Looking forward to this one, Az.
Yeah, look, it's episode 6. We never thought we'd get past episode 1, and the plan was to just jump on Facebook Live and have a chat with whoever of our mates jumped on and wanted to have a chat, and it's great that we've been able to secure one of our good friends and one of Melbourne's finest musos, no doubt. So before we touch base on that, Berkey, the week that's been so far, it's been up and down, no doubt. Dan the man hasn't let us out of our cages yet, and it's going to be a slow climb. But hopefully we're down to single digits now. How do you think the next part of the next week's going to go for you?
Our week's been
positive, right?
Yeah, our week's been pretty ordinary, but other than that, I can see that the measures are working, which is great. There's been a bit of life around the place, so that's looking better. So fingers crossed, Az, that we're coming to the end of it.
Absolutely, we've got one of our gig buddies jumped on early, Jenny Jones, to say hi. So hi, Jen, great to see you. So Berkey, where would we normally be? As I mentioned, no doubt you'd be standing next to me at a bar somewhere, or you would have dragged me to another gig. Tell me more than likely where we'd be on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, anywhere that probably had a big screen TV that could show the replay of last night's Collingwood versus whoever game as for the 18th time, I would have watched that. But would probably be it could be at the Retreat, or maybe down to Torquay, down to the big pub down there. That's always a ripper.
Yeah, look, I can't wait as we get out of lockup to be able to get out and support some local acts again, and most importantly, put some money back into the coffers of bars and cafes alike. And I can't wait to do a bit of a road trip down to Gippsland area or down to the Great Ocean Road to support a few of those places. So can't wait for that to happen again.
Yay.
Now, Berkey, we've been able to secure a good friend of ours, definitely good friend of yours, and I'm glad to be able to call this guy a friend. Who are we talking about here, Berkey? Lead us in.
The great man, Charles Jenkins. I first met Chuck going back a few years ago, back at Gaslight, when he was behind the jump there, and I knew he was in this band that I used to love, and I just popped my head around the court and wait till he was the next person that could serve me, and always made sure that I got Chuck to get my next 45 or whatever it was going to be. So, but he's guided me in down the right path on a few choices. I'd go in there often and say, "Oh, what do you think? What's the next one, Charles? You know, what do you think?" And he's always held me in good stead. So lucky to have this great man on. If you haven't seen him before, you're in for a treat, folks, because he's going to play a few tracks of his own. And without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Charles Jenkins.
Good afternoon, Chuck.
Thank you, gentlemen. I hadn't heard the news, so I was quite confused when I saw the pair of you, misery. And then in the library, the two of you with Dostoevsky. You gave me a look that said, "Can you set me free from misery?" Later on down by the lake, he made his big mistake. He looked away and we made our break from misery. I walked her across the water. I flew her over the borderline, far away. And her father released the hounds, and they soon tracked us down. She whispered in their ear, and they turned back around to misery. When I wonder what she said, she just looks and shakes her head. I got you and I love how it fled. Misery. She walked me across the water. She flew me over the borderline, far away. She walked me across the water. She flew me over the borderline, far away.
Yoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Lovely start, great man. Chuck, thanks for coming on. We're rapt to have you on, Mud. So real huge thank you to our little show.
My pleasure. Thanks for asking.
You're always on the list to get on there, mate. And so yeah, it's a real treat for us. That's off the new album, Chuck. But we want to take it back to where it all began for you. So can you give us a start where the songwriting thing happened for you?
Yeah. Okay. So where it all started. So I used to, in my youth, before I actually was playing guitar, I would rewrite lyrics from existing songs to make them Adelaide centric. I grew up in Adelaide, and so my eldest brother was a big fan of Skyhooks, and as you know, a lot of the Greg McCanish's songs were about Melbourne and Carlton and Turak, etc., Baldwin. And so I would rewrite them to make them about Adelaide. I don't take too kindly to the people that go down Hindley. I remember was one of my earliest couplets. Well, at least and then I learned guitar. Thank you. And then I learned guitar. But it's always, when I say I learned guitar, I didn't really, I would just learn a couple of chords. I'd learn Wild Thing, and then I'd write my own version of Wild Thing. And I'd learn a Who song, and I don't know, it just kept on going like that. And then eventually it led to bands, and it led to recording, and it led to where I am now with you wonderful gentlemen. That was a very Reader's Digest abridged version, I'm sorry. But yeah, so that's how it all started. The first band I was in was called Rigor Mortis. Our first album was going to be called Rigor Mortis Sets In, but unfortunately John Entwistle from The Who already had a record called Rigor Mortis Sets In. And then after that, the Mad Turks formed, and Adelaide was, you guys might recall that, there wasn't much else. It was kind of computers were just coming in. Of course, no internet. It was just, you do your first run of a vinyl 7-inch single, and the minimum amount that you were able to do at the pressing plant, beg your pardon, was like 2,000 copies, and they would all sell. It was just so. Yeah, I was very lucky to kind of grow up at that time, and with that Adelaide scene, I learnt writing songs by just going to see lots of Adelaide bands. There's some great greasy pop acts from that time, and I just wrote song after song after song, and they were all terrible. Yeah.
When do you think it started coming together for you then? What was the first? I'm a big fan, as you probably might have heard over the journey, that I'm a big fan of the Mad Turks. But So where do you think it started to click for you, Chuck?
It was just so hit or miss. You know, I didn't really know what made up a good song. I mean, I listened to lots and I would ape lots of songs. But yeah, I didn't really have any formula to it. The first Mad Turks record was lots of fun because it was just kind of 12-bar songs. That's how we started out. We started out as kind of rockabilly act because 3 chords was mostly what I could handle. And then it just developed from there. Unfortunately for the rest of the band, I was kind of learning songwriting whilst being in that band. And I would come along to rehearsal each week. We would practice 2 nights a week. Oh, my Lord. And they were just such fun. It shot my hearing to bits, but they were just such fun rehearsals. And I would come along with a song that, you know, had a million chords in it. And I would come back the next week and say, you know, because we couldn't record them unless we had a cassette recorder or something. And I would say, oh, you remember that song from last week? And they'll just look at me going, no. So I kind of learned how to write songs so that the band would remember them. And that led to simplicity, and that led to kind of hooks and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was...
Held you in good stead.
Hey?
It's held you in good stead.
Well, yeah, I can't... You know, someone should have said that you shouldn't, you know, maybe go stay in your bedroom for another 5 years or something. But, you know, in retrospect, I'm glad they didn't. You know, there's some great songs on those first couple of Mad Turk records. It's just, I mean, I'm always curious, Bourke, to ask, because we put out Holding My Breath, I don't know, in whatever year it was, and we didn't really know that it was being played over here in Melbourne. Oh, nice work. Thanks. And, oh, that's Tempest Fire. Okay, so we so Bourke, was it what was happening? How did you come across it?
I reckon it would have been, well, we were going out probably 4 or 5 nights a week seeing music. We were just boys from the suburbs, and we'd go and have a look at that one. Yeah, we were
Hubba.
We used to go and see bands all the time, and the main act that we'd go and see always had these ripping supports. So we'd make sure we'd get there early. We'd have cricket training or footy training, and then hop on the tram and get into train and tram and get into town somewhere. But Triple R was always my lifeline, Chuck. You were saying that, you know, when you were writing and being in your room and such, in the suburbs, if you didn't like, you know, Cold Chisel and Australian Crawl, you're an out, you know, you're just an outsider. So, but I just fell in love with Triple R and then PBS and 3CR, and that's where you'd hear stuff that still stands up today. And that's where I fell in love with more alternative sort of stuff, but all the catchy hooks and lots. So that really got me in early, Chuck. So yeah, you had me from the start. You had me at hello.
Yeah, because we weren't aware that I think the Breakfasters were flogging Holding My Breath.
Yeah.
And that led to tours with the Hudson Creepers, who I just love as a band and love as individuals, you know.
Oh, Rob Crawl, wasn't he a beautiful man? Gee.
Just 4 fine, upstanding young men. They were such fun and so we did a lot of gigs with them up and down the East Coast. And because of their management, eventually the Mad Turks moved to Melbourne. So it's kind of thanks to, you know, Rob Craw and all those guys that I'm here and you know, everything that has wonderfully unfolded, you know, kind of stems back to that. So very lucky.
Exactly.
And Charles, I'm a big one on band names and where they originated from. Obviously, your name yourself being Chuck Scat at the time, and the Mad Turks of Istanbul. What a great name! It's definitely one that people would remember. No doubt, the location was one part, but where did the name come from with the Mad Turks of Istanbul specifically?
we were just so stupid. We didn't, you just make up a band name on a Friday night before the Saturday gig or something. And there was we're in Adelaide, and so in North Adelaide, where we used to practice and hang out, there was a hot dog, anyway, like a takeaway joint, and the guys that ran it were Turkish, and they were bloody hilarious. They would really have a lot of fun with the crowd, with the clientele. And so it just, let's call ourselves the Mad Turks, because they weren't mad as in angry, they were mad as in crazy, kind of just zany, wonderful young guys. And so that's how that turned out. And it was just, I always wanted to be in a band that was called like the Clash or the Who or the Beat or the Kinks or the Knack or something, So that's how I, but it never
so
worked
always
out.
5-letter V with 5 letters at the most. So you've gone, instead of the 5 letters, that easy roll off the tongue, you've gone, oh yeah, what about Mad Turks from Istanbul? Just, yeah, great.
I know, it's stupid. Like, we just obviously thought it was hilarious at the time, but it wasn't. And we couldn't even register it because it was, deemed as being kind of slightly, racist. And that just freaked me out completely. And so, yeah, I'm no good at band names.
And then the next phase after that for you was another memorable band name, which to me evokes fantastic memories as a kid, and that feeling of summer for me, and that's why I think it's the perfect summer band name, and to move into a band called the Ice Cream Hands. Once again, three names, and you got the that in there as well. Tell us how that came about, because that wasn't the original name you ran with, was it?
No, we started playing. Thank you, Aaron. We started playing. We're called the Dishonest Johns, which was one of the characters, I think, from Wacky Races, and we really liked that name. But
it's another great name.
Yeah, and it worked out. It was John Howard era, and it was around the time that he was perfecting his kind of divide and conquer, throw the children overboard kind of approach to politics, and which is, still to this day is the way that politics works in this country. Anyway, so we thought it was a great name, but the manager at the time, this was a different manager to the previous ones, she didn't like it, and fair enough. And so Ice Cream, I am a big fan of Robin Hitchcock, from the Soft Boys and Robin Hitchcock solo, whatever, and he had a song called The Flavor of Night, and the chorus went, you with your ice cream hands. And I appreciate what you said, Aaron, about, in retrospect, it's worked out really well, because I think the sweet spot for the Ice Cream Hands is that summery, upbeat, uplifting kind of thing, and I rebelled against it for a while there, but with the last record, I kind of realized, well, this is what we do well. We do this thing really well, and so let's not fight it. Let's make the most of it, because I've got plenty of other avenues, to do my miserable folk songs and my musical set pieces. So yeah, it's worked out well, that name.
I remember having a couple of jars, and we met you at the Tote, the last Robin Hitchcock gig, Chuck. I'm not sure if you remember it that well, but you will.
I remember it very well.
Yeah, of course. Looked over at one stage, and you were just like a little puppy. You looked like a little puppy. Oh. I knew there was a bit of a love affair then, a bit of a man crush. It's a good one to have.
Yeah, look, I always liked Robin for me, he was just, he was, it was America and England, and the crazy, beautiful parts of both was kind of Hitchcock. And I always felt that was the Australian, not the sound, but I always liked that we could grab from both. And I kind of think that Ice Cream Hands kind of do that, and they sit in between all these wonderful English influences and the American influences as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hitchcock it was like Dylan, he just sang about anything. And that's what you need as a songwriter. Otherwise, you'd stop by the time you're 21 or something.
I never got that Dylan gene, but I hear it in other blokes, which has cast me out on the outer again with lots of other people. But the Dylan thing doesn't work for me. But I get it through Elvis Costello and Hitchcock and those sort of guys. So I'm feeling it that way. Can we go back to Ice Cream Hands? Much loved by the masses. You didn't play for quite a number of years, and then there was a gig, probably 3 or 4 years ago, when you marshalled the troops back together and played at I think it was the Curtin, Chuck, and that went over extremely well. Did that have any influence on you guys getting back together and doing some more stuff, or?
Oh, yeah, probably. Thanks, Mark. Probably. Because Doug from the Ice Cream Hands had been on the Shabagos records, the last few, and then in particular the last Polaroid. When I'd done that, I thought, these are pop songs. These could be done by the Ice Cream Hands, and yeah, so we did that Sweet on the Radio 20th whatever, and off we went, and it was just such fun being with them. And to be selfish, it was also fun not being the owner, rider, trainer of the particular event, of the particular band. And it's good having other people, obviously the musical input, but also, just helping to get things across the line. And I was as shocked as the next person to find out that it had been 13 years since that last record. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I've been writing songs for another Ice Cream Hands record, and we're all pretty keen to keep it going. That's kind of like my main band focus. That first song that I played, Dave Milne, the drummer in the Shabagos and the piano player in the Ice Cream Hands, we're going to try and do a record together. We've got about 6 or so songs, and that's a wonderful little thing where I'll come up with the first part of it. I had, that part of it, and then he'll suggest chords, beautiful chords for the next part. So we're trying to do that, and it's a really interesting process for me, because I'll get to the end of a part and stop and just send it to Dave and just say, what do you got for this next bit? So I'm trying to, we're going to try and do that, just the acoustic guitar and piano and vocal thing when we can. Yeah.
There's a scoop there, viewers. Look out for that one. We'll make sure we're all over it.
I'm also sorry to jump in, Bourke. I'm also I've been doing that, when I was on the moon, when I was in my room, and I've got a bunch of nylon string songs as well. Like they're just kind of fun to write, because I know that it's just going to be me and a guitar, and I know I'm really pushing the friendship I have with people that like my stuff by doing yet another. Thank you, Aaron. By doing yet another record with me and a nylon string guitar. But it's just such a wonderful challenge as a songwriter to know it's just going to be you and that guitar and nothing else. It kind of makes you think a little bit differently about the song.
I've been lucky enough. Go on, as you go.
Yeah, really, really interesting you say that, Charles. The simplicity of when you play acoustically, I think really reflects in the simplicity and the beautiful nature of some of your album covers that I've really resonated with, and in particular this one. Just a beautiful shot, so well done, and also this part here that says so much about songwriting and the thought process in relation to that. As something as simple as sitting in your room. What's the process for you with songwriting? I know things come to you probably at different times, but I mean this beautiful shot of Ice Cream Hands that we've got here, just sitting at a cafe having a coffee. Looks like Pellegrini's. It's a great shot. How do you guys go about putting together a song, and how does that process work for you these days?
It always varies with the nylon string. Hang on, I'll just get it. With the I hadn't had a nylon string guitar since I was 15 or something. So, and then a friend at a shop in South Melbourne said, "Oh, you should try this guitar out. It's a tune." And he and it just sounded monumental. Like if it just sounds. I'm about to say something important here, or perhaps not. So I just jumped right into that nylon string thing. Whereas with the Ice Cream Hands songs, you kind of write songs knowing, trying to allow harmony and trying to allow space for stuff to happen. Which is a wonderful parameter, but when it's just you and just you and the nylon string, you can't. It's like, you've got to. It's all onto you, which is a really good parameter to have. Like, I know that's a little bit vague, but it kind of means that you work a little bit more on the chord progressions, and because the other thing with playing in a band, you really learn to excuse me, you want to write songs that are fun to play. I think if they're fun for the band to play and enjoyable, then it's going to be fun to hear. So yeah, look, I don't know whether I answered your question, Aaron, but to just go back to that artwork that you had, Dave Wayman took that wonderful photograph of the trees and the water there. And Ash Oswald has done all my art, all the album art from the very beginning since Bungalow. So I've been very lucky to have that fellow by my side.
Chuck, I was going to ask, how do you decide what goes to where? Another band that we love, that we've come to know and played some. Just played the last time we saw you played just a 3-track really quick set at the Mallard, and that really killed it that night with Dave and the Chivagos. How do you decide what goes where, or how does that happen?
Oh, look, it's more time and place as opposed to song, except when it got to the last Polaroid, when I realised that they were basically pop songs. But I was just kind of keen to do something different. Well, not different, but the solo thing started just from pure practical touring means. I was in England doing a solo tour, and they're up on the, up in lights was the name Ice Cream Hands, and I thought, oh goodness, this is not right. Yeah. So I started doing solo records because I, just wanted to travel, the world, and I didn't know how I could do it with the band. With the band, it's obviously 4 flights and hotel rooms and hire cars, and if it's just you, it's just 1 flight and couches and buses and trains, and it's really easy or cheaper. So that's how that all came about, and I didn't think that it would be, quite such a long time in between drinks for the Ice Cream Hands. So yeah, it's not necessarily. Well, look, I suppose if I write it on the nylon string, I think I'm going to do it, with me, and and that's about as far as the thinking goes. If it's on the acoustic guitar, then it's probably going to end up with an Ice Cream Hands song. But it's not as if I think, well, I'm going to need a big pop chorus with lots of loud harmonies, for this song to work, I don't think it's that cut and dried. I think that there's opportunities for the Ice Cream Hands to do a number of different things. Because I figure if I keep on writing and writing and writing, then there'll be enough great songs. If I write 20 songs, then 10 of them are going to turn out okay.
One of my favourites on the new albums is Waiting, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's poppy, but it's got that little touch of melancholy and stuff. But I just love it. Rate it well. You go ahead.
Doug's a beautiful songwriter, like very special songwriter, and that's another part of the appeal of the Ice Cream Hands is having different songwriters and different singers, and I really I like being in a band. I like when I was growing up, I wanted to be Chris Difford from UK Squeeze. I wanted to write the lyrics, and I wanted to just hang at the back and kind of just play the rhythm guitar and get up and sing Cool for Cats every now and then. So yeah, I became the lead singer because I was the one writing the songs. It wasn't as if I was pining to be the guy under the spotlight. I kicked and screamed.
Yeah, very interesting, Chuck, because there's no doubt in the last little while there's you're an incredible frontman, and also you've seen your band's name go up in lights finally here with a big billboard in Melbourne, which is fantastic to see. There's a picture of one at night there and one up during the day. How's the new album been with Ice Cream Hands, and how's it been received so far?
It's gone really well, thanks. It's obviously an odd time to put out a record, but that's okay. That's no big deal. Yep, that's Ash Oswald again with his artwork. Has it been? You looked at most importantly, the fans of the band have been so effusive about it. That's what I really like. They've really embraced it. The real estate with regard to reviews and all of that is just a bit more difficult these days. The media has changed. But it's been, look, and I just love the whole process of it. I'd send the demo to Doug and he'd soup it up, and then we had to piece it together, kind of thing, because we could never really afford a large studio. And then by the time we got around to finishing it, COVID had kicked in, so we had to do it kind of individually. But yeah, can I play a song off the record on the guitar?
Sure.
Absolutely. We'd love you to.
Right. Okay. I'm kind of happy every morning when the sun comes up. Kind of happy every evening when the sun goes down. And everyone moves on, except when they don't move along. I'm kind of happy every morning to be heading west. Kind of happy every evening coming home back east. And everyone gets along, except when they don't get along. You and I are always handing out flyers no one ever reads. You and I are always hanging on a wire no one ever sees. Just general wear and tear. I wanna hold you, but you're not there. Just general wear and tear. I wanna hold you, but you're nowhere. Kinda happy every morning when the sun comes up. Kinda happy every evening when the sun goes down. and everyone gets along, except when they don't get along. You and I are always handing out flyers no one ever reads. You and I are always hanging on a wire no one ever sees. Just general wear and tear. I wanna hold you, but you're not there. Just general wear and tear. I wanna hold you, but you're nowhere. Just general wear and tear. Just general wear and tear. Just general wear and tear. Privately, you know I love you so much. I'm kinda happy every morning when the sun comes up.
Woo-hoo. Sorry, that's my technical supervisor in the background. Sorry about that, everyone.
Yeah,
Lucky you couldn't hear her.
There was no special effects introduced there. That was all natural. Great to see, Charles. Thanks for that. Really appreciate that, and I really wish you well on this new album. It's hard to believe. 13 years on, still a bloody marvelous band was Bernard Jules' quote there in review. So great to see, and we look forward to being able to tour that album as soon as we get out of lockup. But one thing I'm definitely looking forward to is probably I'm gonna out this now, but it's probably Melbourne's best kept secret in my opinion. Monday nights at the Retreat Hotel. It's unbelievable to be able to sit in a room and feel a connection with you, Charles. You've been an institution at that place, no doubt. Here's a little picture of the outside of the Retreat Hotel. Great little bar in Brunswick. We can't wait to be able to do that again. If anyone could see this footage, you'll see I'm sitting at the retreat right now in the front bar, where we'd love to take pride of place on a Monday night. What's the retreat been like for you, Charles, after all this time? And how hard is it right now in a lockdown or lockup phase to not be able to get out there and play gigs again?
Well, I suppose second question first. I don't really mind. Look, I miss the retreat. I don't really, the Ice Cream Hands will eventually tour, but it's kind of weird, like when a band tours, like you make your money in Melbourne, you break even in Sydney, and then you lose all your money in Brisbane. That's the way that the tours tend to go. Yeah. But I do miss the retreat. I do miss that interaction, and it's the ease of it as well. I can get there, and I'm in control of the sound. It's just a little PA, and the bar staff join in, and the people there join in, and it's well. And I've done a fair few residencies over the years. That's probably quite easily the longest. I first started playing, doing residencies. When I was 17, I just lucked out and got this gig at a coffee shop in Adelaide called Ginger's, and I think I got paid $25 and a ham and cheese toastie every Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no tomato, and then and so I've done, I did a bunch of them. Smiley and I from the Ice Cream Hands did about a year at the Dan O'Connell Hotel on a Sunday night, and that was an amazing lineup. That had Kerry Simpson and Andrew Pendlebury and the incredible David Hosking, who I really think is the best songwriter in Melbourne, like an amazing songwriter that I learned so much from, seeing him every week. And then Dave Milne and on drums and Matty Vale on piano and myself on acoustic guitar did a couple of years at the Brunswick Green, on a Sunday afternoon there, and I just learned so much about performing, I think, because it was just so loose. We'd make songs go for 10 minutes, you know, we just enjoyed the thing that we were doing. And I suppose I might, I don't know if I should, how to say this without sounding rude, but you know, when the Ice Cream Hands play, because of the harmonies and because of everything in place, the song is performed the same way each time, you know, because there's all these different elements that have to work to go together to make it work. And I'm right into that at the moment. But at that time, I just really enjoyed not having to do that, to be able to sing however you felt like and slow it down, and speed it up and all that stuff. I do, and the Royal Derby, just down the road.
Yeah.
Okay. They had a Sunday night thing there, and this was really early on in my kind of solo thing. And up until then, I'd been in, I'd been in the Mad Turks, and you know, that was just like a barrage of noise. That's how we'd kind of, you know, get people's attention. And I was doing these solo gigs, and I still remember, you know, there'd only be 10 people in the audience, and 5 of them would be playing pool. And I remember I played a song, and they stopped, and they listened. And that was one of the most, it was just an amazing thing to be able to do it with just a nylon string guitar. And it was this, have we got time? Can I play this song?
Yeah,
absolutely. Go for it.
Okay, so I've never actually recorded this song. I don't know why, but it was this, maybe you got something more than me to help you to decide just what secrets you have that are bound, I forgot the lyric, will be kept inside. I bet he's with you now. I bet he's kept his youth. It's just struck me now. I'm no longer bulletproof. And on it went. And I just remember kind of driving home like triumphantly, because that was the first time I'd been able to kind of stop people with a song. Prior to that, it was just noise was a big part of it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, they're all the residencies. I'm sure I've forgotten others, but you know, there's lots of great gigs I've been able to play. I was thinking about it. There's this wonderful gig that I did in Aranjuez, which is this little town outside of Madrid, and I've got a very dear friend that lives there, and I played this great gig. It was only great because he was up on stage with me, and he would, I would give the song introduction, and he would translate it into Spanish and tell the crowd. I really, really loved that. There was another gig that, it's all the gigs that go a little bit kind of pear-shaped that you remember. You know, they're the ones that you recall. So there was a gig that I did, it was, that's, okay, so it was, I did this trip across the States a long time ago, and it was me it was just me and the manager, and he said, how many gigs do you want to do? And I said, we're going a long way, like I should play every night of the week. And he said, right, okay, no worries. And in retrospect, I should have said, I should play a good gig every night of the week. So he booked anywhere that he could, you know, these ridiculous kind of gigs. And then I was also doing early morning TV, like there was Good Morning New Orleans and Good Morning Nashville and Good Morning Memphis and all this stuff. And you know, I'd done about 20 gigs in a row up late at night, and then about 5 gigs in a row up 5 o'clock in the morning. And I remember this gig because it just went so badly, but it was at the Peacock Hotel in in Memphis, which is famous for, it's got a fountain in the foyer, and the ducks come across out of the river and make their way across, some 8-lane freeway and stop all the traffic and get to the Peacock Hotel. Peacock? I hope it's the Peacock. Peabody. And swim in the fountain and do their thing. And they were shooting that episode of Good Morning Memphis from the foyer of that hotel. And I did I Want to Be Your Record Collection, Hello Jenny Jones, and I did that song, and I'd done it, for a sound check, and you'd know how every second counts in TV land, like it's just timed down to the millisecond. And I did it at sound check, and the song went for 3 minutes. And then when I went to do it, live at 7:30 a.m. or something, I had this panic attack, and I completely lost control of my strumming hand. It was just tiredness and just, I don't know, not looking after myself. And so I bailed on the song about two minutes into a 3-minute song. And of course, everyone's thinking there's another minute to go, and they're having a dart and they're having a coffee, and all of a sudden I finish, and there's this mad scramble, and I just felt terrible, like I'd let everyone down. It was really just terrible. And then later on that day, I went to Graceland to pay my respects, and I was in the gift shop, and this family walked up and said, "We saw you on Good Morning Memphis this morning, and you were fantastic." Oh. And I said, "Thank you very much," knowing that I was not fantastic at all. So yes, those really weird ones. Hey, can I say one more? This other one occurred to me. When like the biggest gig, the Mad Turks, and Ice Cream Hands did wonderful like Big Day Out gigs and all of that. They were such fun. And there's a wonderful gig up in Brisbane I do as a solo called the Junk Bar. That's really special. And I have to say, all the house concerts I do, like they're my favorite. They're just such fun to eat with people and drink with people and hang out with people and then go play. And, I just like that kind of solidarity. I don't like the performer. Anyway, but there was this Mad Turks gig. It was at Footy Park. West Lakes, used to be the Footy Park, and it was, I think, In Excess were on the top of the bill, and James Rain was there, and Hunters and Collectors, I don't know, the Models, I think. Anyway, lots of big bands, and Mad Turks were first on at 11:45 a.m. And the day before, I was asked to do an interview the day before. John Schumann from Red Gum was he was wearing like an entertainment reporter hat at that time for Channel 10, and so this gig was coming to town, and plus the circus was in town as well. So it was decided that I would go and meet him in West Park or wherever where the circus was. Is this a dream
or is this actually happening? Is it? Look, keep going.
And the story does end, and then so I go and catch up with John Schumann, who's just such a wonderful fella, and so they're plugging the circus and they're plugging the gig, and someone thinks it's a really good idea to give me a baby, well, to give me a lion cub to hold whilst I'm being interviewed by John Schumann, which might have been a really good idea for everyone except the mother of that lion cub, who was only about 20 feet away, and throughout the entire interview, she just rightfully roared, and I couldn't be. So, are you looking forward to the gig tomorrow, Charles? You just couldn't hear me at all, because this lioness was fucked off about the fact that taken away a baby cub.
And not surprised. Goodness, man.
Not surprised. Sorry, that was a really long-winded answer, isn't it? Sorry. I think
Chuck, going back to the residency thing, at the Brunswick Green and the retreat, my old boss has got invoices for you for everything. All of those Mondays and Tuesdays I used to rock in and not do any work, but I'll get them in the post to you at some stage. But just tremendous times. Tremendous. We used to have a ball. It was always You always knew you were going to get a great show, and you'd bring someone as a friend, and they'd be a fan for life. So you have that ability in you to draw people, and it's not just about the songs and the playing and the voice and your, handsomely good looks and locks. It's the stories you tell. Now, we love hearing these stories, so don't go changing all that as well. We love to hear it. My last one, half full, half empty. What's the future for Chuck?
Well, I'm really happy. I think there have been times when I thought, oh, maybe I should become a baker or something. Maybe I should drive a bus, because I have I eventually got some qualifications as a teacher. I eventually did a master's in, it's in master's in music, but it's really, the master's for me was in lyric writing technique. So I can teach songwriting. So I'm very lucky to be able to do that. And yeah, I'm pretty, like the future is just more records. Like that's a great photograph. That was the last gig at, oh my God, that was, yes, my God, Pure Pop Records. I did a lot of gigs there. Thank you for that photograph. They were fun. I really learned songwriting a lot. I don't know, like I used Pure Pop, that courtyard, as a kind of songwriting technique, because I would play songs there and certain songs would work and the audience would shut up, because you're up against it, because it's a sunny afternoon, it's free to get in, lots of beer, and people are with friends, and you're all there with an acoustic guitar, which is more or less, hey, there's an acoustic guitar, let's talk. So you would play a song and everyone would shut up and listen, and then you would play another song and you would lose them. So I had to go away and kind of figure that out. Why would certain songs work and why certain songs wouldn't? And I kind of use that in the teaching that I do these days, to come back to your question. So I teach at university and other kind of places, and I do one-on-one songwriting tuition, and basically it's only because I've made so many mistakes that I just try and say, hey, I can shortcut a few years here if you don't do this and don't do that, don't do this. So they're fun. The big, another thing that I really hope to do more of are these songwriting commissions. Bourke, you might be aware of these things, where I write songs for people's birthdays, and I wrote one for Father's Day for a fella, and I wrote, the last one I did was for 2 dogs. End of sentence, for 2 dogs. And so I really like those. Like, it's a fun way to spend a day. People send me the background and I just put it together and make it rhyme and come up with a tune. So yeah, they're that's what's kind of going on. I'd like to cross the Andes, but apart from that.
No, I don't want to take over here, Aaron, but I just wanted to say the other thing is that you did a track for me for my birthday, which thank you everyone for organising that one, and thanks to family and friends. But going to a Chuck Jenkins gig over the years, I've met some of my dearest and closest friends going to these gigs. People just say hello to the first time or say hello to, but it's like a kindred spirit. We're all there to support you and all there to pump you up as much as we can. So with that one, I'll leave you to it, and it's been a pleasure spending the time with you, mate. So I hope to do so again soon. Oh, the other thing, let's get a plug in. These house shows, they are tremendous. It's one of my favourite things to have an artist at home. And so we're organising another one soon for Chuck. But anyone wants to get in contact, we can pass a great man's number on and get you in contact with him. So
thanks. Yeah, no, I love them. I really just. Yeah, those things, and the commission and the teaching, and I still just love writing songs. I love the whole kind of when it's the one-on-one things, it's like you're given a puzzle, and I can't I don't do crosswords or anything like that, but I really like the songwriting puzzle. Trying to figure out how can we make this thing better. So anyway, yeah, look, I love the house concerts. So if anyone wants to, I'd love to do more, as Victoria widens, opens.
Yeah, look, thanks a lot for your time, Chuck. There's no doubt we can help increase the footprint of venues, being in everyone's lounge room. That'd be fantastic if we were able to pull that off and get some more local artists playing in lounge rooms around Melbourne. I look forward to seeing that very much so, Berkey. So let's get it on the list and let's get it happening as soon as we're allowed to. Let's try and get past the 10 people allowed, because it's a shame to have any less in the room than that for Chuck. So Chuck, I'd really like to thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I just want to finish with this. Have you got one? I know you're working with a lot of artists and you're doing your songwriting workshops with a lot of different talent at the moment. One particular younger artist that you'd like to make sure that we've all seen or heard? Anyone out there that really resonates with where you're at the moment?
Well, that's a good question. I'm going to just drop my son's band. I'm going to drop
Absolutely.
Karate Boogaloo. My son Henry plays in that band, who I just think are astronomical. And I'm when you talk about gigs and not being able to play gigs, they had a tour of Europe booked that they couldn't do. My mum was going to Ireland anyway. So yeah, I love Karate Boogaloo. I've watched these kids; they're all in their mid-20s now, and I've watched them develop from birth, but the band from for 10 years or so, Cactus Channel onto Karate Boogaloo, and I just think they're the bee's knees. They're just wonderful human beings and wonderful musicians, and yeah, don't tell them, but they really teach me a lot about the world and about music and about empathy and sensitivity and yeah, it's not the best answer I've ever given in my life, but it's not the worst.
Love it.
That's all right. I'd like to once again, Charles, I really appreciate your time on a Sunday afternoon. I love spending time with you. So I know Berkey does. We really appreciate it, and we hope we can spread your love to the wider audience. We look forward to getting out there and seeing a gig together. And no doubt you're on the top of the list. So we look forward to catching up again, and really appreciate your time. Thanks, Charles.
Aaron, thanks so much. Berkey, thanks so much. You guys are such wonderful gentlemen. Thanks very much indeed.
I look forward to doing it again. Cheers, mate.
See you. Cheers, mate.
Au revoir.
Berkey, how good was that? Lucky to spend half an hour with Chuck, or a little bit longer than half an hour. We nearly spent an hour with Chuck. So how good was that?
Oh yeah, he's tremendous, and he's just a great artist, great man, great human being. All those superlatives that we throw around really easily, but he's fair dinkum and just a lovely man. I'll just tell a quick story. As I know we haven't got way over time. Chuck came for a gig. He came for a gig at our place, and he was going to get there at 7 o'clock and come on at 8 and play till 11. He ended up getting to our place at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. A couple of glasses of red wine turned into a couple of bottles, and he didn't start playing till 9. And then we ended up in the pool at about 3 o'clock in the morning. But that's what can happen. You invite Charles Jenkins over for a house gig, so be prepared. But it's just and people still talk about it. It's just a great night. So yeah, if we can get, once things do open up, yeah, house gigs are the way to go for the short term. So thanks,
absolutely.
Well done.
Look forward to doing that, and really appreciate you reaching out to Chuck and getting him on. So we look forward to the next artist we're having. I just want to give a really quick plug to our walk that we're doing, Berkey, for October for the Black Dog Institute, raising money for mental health. And we're absolutely flying at the moment, just to let you know. We've reached our $1,000 goal, which was, I thought at the time, a little bit ambitious for $1,000, given the current state of play, and we're over that 4 days in. So I'm super impressed with that. So we've got a bit of work to do, Berkey, to keep this walk happening and make sure we're out there. But most importantly, we did this to support a charity and support someone and support things close to us, which is definitely men's mental health in general, but mental health also of everyone. And it was just the first charity that we thought of. We're going to align ourselves to someone else maybe in the next month or so as well for November. Not sure it's going to be Movember because there's not too many follicles that touch this face. So I might have to find another way. But I look forward to having a chat about what we're going to do next, Berkey. And make sure you have a good week, mate. Let's chat again. And I think we'll source our next special guest. No doubt we're setting the standard very high with Chuck as well. So I'm not sure we can get much higher quicker, but let's dig the barrel, put the feelers out and see who we can find, Berkey.
I'll do my best, mate. I'll do my best. Just want to say a big thank you to everyone that has supported us too, while we're wrapping up the days. It's whilst my hammies and my goat are saying stop, we've got to stop doing this. But thanks for all the support, guys. It's been tremendous, and it is tricky at the moment financially, and for you to go above and beyond, we really do appreciate it. So lots of love to you guys as well.
Yeah, we really appreciate everyone that's jumped on and passed the chat, or a great way, as a couple of people mentioned, Jenny Jones and Darren Cummings, a great way to spend a Sunday arvo. And I look forward to going have a quiet beverage and reflection of this great show we've had with Chuck. So let's do it again soon, Berkey.
Right, mate. All the best. Lots of love. Speak soon.
Chat soon, mate. Thank you.